Welcome back, spicy ladies. You're not here by accident. If you found this video, it's because something inside you is shifting. You're feeling a pull not to fit in, but to rise. And that rising, that's the call of a Sigma female, but not just any Sigma archetype. We're talking about the rarest among them, the divine karma messenger. She's not loud. She doesn't need to be. She moves like a shadow laced with thunder. She doesn't warn, she arrives. And when she does, lives change. Not because she asks them to, but because the truth always bends reality. She's not chasing revenge. She is the consequence. She doesn't carry judgment. She carries justice. And the universe, it listens when she moves. Today, we'll explore 8 rare signs you might be one of these disruptors. Or maybe you've encountered one and never recovered from it. Either way, what you're about to hear won't sound like personality traits. It'll sound like memory, cellular memory. Before we begin, subscribe to Spicy Lady Sigma. This is where ancient patterns meet modern clarity. And if you feel this content unlocks something in you, consider buying me a coffee. The link is in the description and pinned comment below. Your support fuels the next truth drop. Let's begin. Sign 1, the mirror. Nobody wants, but everyone needs. She doesn't lecture. She reflects. And when people meet her, they're not just meeting a person. They're coming face to face with everything they've been avoiding about themselves. You see, most of us live in curated narratives. We play characters in our own lives, hiding wounds behind routines and pretending to be whole while rotting inside. Enter the Sigma karma messenger, and without a word, she rips the mask off. Not through confrontation, not through force, but through pure presence. People look at her and suddenly feel uncomfortable. Not because she's rude, but because she doesn't validate the lie. She doesn't coddle the illusion. Her energy is sharp, sovereign, and clean. When you're used to chaos, peace can feel violent. She doesn't try to expose anyone. But when you're near her, the truth leaks out. Some will say she's cold. Others will whisper, she thinks she's better. But what's really happening is that their own distorted reflection is making them squirm. She mirrors back their cowardice, their deception, their laziness. Not because she wants to, but because the truth refuses to hide in her presence. Children sense it. Animals are drawn to it. Narcissists run from it because her frequency destabilizes the fake and amplifies the real. In relationships, she becomes the turning point. People will either level up or disappear. Those who stay are often transformed because being loved by her means facing everything you hate about yourself and somehow feeling safe while doing it. That's why she's a karma messenger. Not because she punishes, but because she awakens. And that awakening, it's brutal and beautiful. Right now, if you're still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Sign 2, dismantling illusions. She doesn't speak much. She doesn't need to. The illusion cracks the moment she walks in. In spiritual terms, we'd say she carries disruptive alignment, a frequency so tightly calibrated to truth, it causes false realities to glitch on contact. People start stuttering their own beliefs around her. They fidget, contradict themselves, or avoid eye contact altogether. They feel seen, but not in the way they want. They feel X-rayed, and she's not doing anything. She's just there. In friendships, this causes friction. The fake friend can't keep up the act. The opportunist feels exposed. The gossip suddenly forgets their script. Why? Because illusions thrive in echo chambers, not in front of her. She's not confrontational, but her very existence is a confrontation. She doesn't need to call you out. She'll just sit there serene, unbothered, and suddenly your internal shame starts speaking louder than any insult ever could. This kind of presence comes with a price. People project onto her. They accuse her of arrogance or call her too intense. But really, they're just mad that their illusions stopped working. Her life forces them to look at theirs. Coworkers might say she's distant. Family members might accuse her of thinking she's better. Partners might say, you make me feel like I'm not good enough. But that's the point. Because the truth is they're not. Not yet. And she doesn't apologize for being the truth. She doesn't beg to be understood. She understands something far more important, the role of the karmic echo. Sometimes you're not meant to fit in. You're meant to disrupt. Sign 3. Time bends around her exits. People don't notice it right away. They think they're fine when she walks away. They think her absence is silence, her exit irrelevant. But give it time. Weeks pass. Suddenly, the friends group crumbles. The team loses its direction. The relationship, once full of noise, feels like static. Things begin to unravel and no one can explain why. You see, when a Sigma Karma messenger leaves, she's not just leaving the room. She's withdrawing energetic balance. She was never just a person in your life. She was the invisible equilibrium, the unspoken stabilizer, the spiritual center of gravity that held things together. And once that center is gone, the false structure collapses. It's not a curse. It's not revenge. It's simply energetic correction. In jobs, teams, or collaborations, she's often the quiet core. Never the loud leader, but the one everyone unconsciously leans on. Her consistency, her integrity, her lack of drama, it keeps the machine running. But when she senses the energy is exploitative, fake, or simply misaligned, she walks, and what's left is the truth, raw and exposed. The narcissist in the relationship suddenly loses their ability to manipulate. The passive-aggressive boss finds their team disengaged. The friendship group can no longer maintain fake harmony. Why? Because she was the karmic anchor. And when the anchor lifts, the boat drifts into chaos. Some people feel this immediately. They text her days later. Things haven't been the same since you left. They're not lying. They're feeling the aftershock of her absence. Others take longer. They pretend they've moved on. They boast about being better without her. But slowly their life enters a cycle of repetition, stagnation, or collapse. Because here's the truth. She wasn't sent to stay forever. She was sent to test the structure. If it's built on illusion, it crumbles after she leaves. If it's real, it will adapt, evolve, and remember her as a sacred part of its journey. The karma messenger doesn't slam the door. She lets you keep your dignity. But make no mistake, her exit is a timeline fracture. People find themselves haunted, not by her words, but by what they didn't say, what they didn't fix, what they refused to acknowledge when she offered silent clarity. They'll remember the way she left. No drama, no rage, no plea, just graceful disengagement. And that's what burns the most, because most people expect punishment to be loud. They don't recognize when karma wears heels and doesn't turn around. She doesn't stalk your social media. She doesn't plot revenge. She evolves, and that evolution echoes into the lives of those she left behind. Sometimes her exit is the last warning they'll ever get, and sometimes it's the beginning of their unraveling. So if you're the one who walks away and watches timelines collapse in your rear view, you're not cold. You're not heartless. You might just be divine disruption in human form. Sign 4. Triggering transformation without trying. She doesn't preach. She doesn't push. She simply is. And yet being around her is like standing too close to a forest fire you didn't know was burning. The Sigma Karma messenger doesn't come into your life waving a flag. She arrives subtly, often through coincidence, often when you least expect it. And then suddenly, without warning, you're changing. It starts small. You question your choices. You feel uncomfortable in old habits. You catch yourself replaying conversations with her, wondering why her silence said more than your loudest thoughts. This is no accident. Her presence is alchemical. She's the kind of woman who triggers dormant codes in people, their unlived truth, their unfaced pain, their suppressed desires. You meet her and your soul recognizes it's been sleeping. She doesn't tell you what to do. She doesn't fix you. She just exists. And her existence becomes a mirror to the life you could be living. That's why people either awaken or run. There's no neutral. She destabilizes your comfort zone by exposing the tiny lies you live every day. Your fake smile, your I'm fine, your excuses, your fear-drenched routines. All of them start to itch when you're around her. This isn't magic. It's energetic truth in motion. The universe uses her to rearrange people's priorities without her even trying. She's the before and after moment in someone's life. The moment where they start journaling again. The day they finally quit the job. The hour they stop settling. She is not your guru. She doesn't want followers. In fact, she values solitude more than attention. But those who cross her path don't forget it. Because something about her activates your inner compass, even if it shakes you. That's why relationships with her are intense. People fall into two groups, those who rise with her and those who resist the change and call her too much. But the truth is she's not too much. She's just real in a world addicted to pretending. Transformation doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it feels like heartbreak. Sometimes it burns away everything fake you've built. But if you've ever been around someone who made you reevaluate your entire existence, who didn't force change but sparked it, who didn't say you should grow but made growth feel like your only option, then you've met a karma messenger. And if people have told you that you make them think differently, that you make them feel exposed, that your presence challenges them, then maybe you are one. Remember, this isn't about ego. It's about function. A divine karmic function that shakes stagnant souls into motion. Sometimes her transformation is visible. People change jobs, leave relationships, find purpose. Sometimes it's hidden. Internal awakenings that manifest years later. But the seed was planted the moment they met her. And she'll never ask for credit. She doesn't care to be worshipped because she knows she's not the hero. She's just the trigger. A trigger the universe uses when it's time to wake someone up. So if you're the type of person who makes others uncomfortable in their denial, who makes people want to be better without telling them to, who watches lives shift after you exit them, then you're not just a Sigma, you're a sacred disruptor. You don't try to change people, but they change anyway. And that is divine karma in action. Sign 5. Her silence speaks in earthquakes. She doesn't yell. She doesn't beg. When conflict rises, she doesn't fight for attention or validation. She just goes quiet. And in that silence, something ancient stirs. Most people fear confrontation, but more than that, they fear being left alone with themselves. That's where the Sigma Karma Messenger holds her power. She doesn't destroy with rage. She destroys with withdrawal. When she stops talking, people don't feel peace. They feel pressure. Because her silence doesn't mean indifference. It means you're now alone with the truth you've been avoiding. See, silence is her most potent weapon. Not because it's empty, but because it's full of consequence. When she goes quiet, people hear their own guilt echoing. They replay everything they said. They question what they didn't say. They begin to unravel, not because she cursed them, but because her absence becomes the loudest judgment of all. Most people expect karma to be loud and obvious. They expect dramatic arguments, slamming doors, emotional explosions. But she doesn't deliver chaos. She delivers echoes, and sometimes echoes are worse. Her silence forces people to face themselves. No one's projecting onto her. No one's hiding behind her reactions. All that's left is a cold mirror and their own behavior staring back at them. And when she does speak, it's surgical. She cuts through layers of excuses with a sentence. She can collapse an entire web of manipulation with a single look or a soft, controlled phrase that lands harder than a scream. This silence isn't weakness. It's mastery. It's the kind of silence that resets timelines. That makes liars confess. That makes manipulators stutter. When she walks away mid-argument with nothing but a nod, she's not surrendering. She's delivering the final blow. People fear silence because it's where their demons speak loudest. And she knows that. That's why she doesn't argue. She doesn't correct you. She gives you space to meet your karma in the quiet. She's not punishing you. She's letting you feel the weight of your own choices. Raw, undistracted, and echoing in the chamber she leaves behind. Sign 6. Drawn to chaos, but not to fix it. She walks toward the fire, not to rescue, but to witness. She's drawn to chaos, not because she's broken, but because chaos reveals what's real. In a world obsessed with control, the karma messenger finds herself repeatedly surrounded by unstable people, broken systems, or toxic relationships. Not by accident, but by design. See, most people get stuck in chaos trying to fix it. But she doesn't play savior. She plays observer. When drama explodes, she doesn't jump in. She watches. She lets things unfold. She understands that chaos is just truth without structure. And sometimes the only way to expose the lie is to let it burn. People expect her to fix things. They come to her for guidance, for soothing, for rescue. But she doesn't give comfort. She gives clarity. And clarity doesn't always feel good. She can sit in a storm and not flinch. Why? Because she doesn't fear chaos. She understands it's a catalyst. Most people misunderstand this. They think her calmness means coldness, that her refusal to rescue means detachment. But what they don't realize is she already knows how this ends. She's seen the patterns. She's sensed the frequencies. She knows the role everyone's playing, even if they don't. And here's the truth. Not everyone wants healing. Not every situation deserves her energy. She doesn't pour water on fires that are meant to cleanse. Sometimes chaos is the medicine, and her role is to let it do its work. She's been in rooms where lies ruled until her presence shattered the illusion. She's been in relationships built on denial until her refusal to play along caused the collapse. She's walked into jobs where politics, ego, and dysfunction reigned only to leave and watch the entire system fall apart behind her. She doesn't fix chaos. She reveals it. And that makes her dangerous to liars, manipulators, and those hiding behind false peace. They want her to be emotional. They want her to intervene, but she won't. She watches, and in that watching, they panic because without distraction, the chaos has to face itself. That's why her role is karmic. She doesn't delay consequences. She doesn't soften them. She simply shows up, and everything begins to unravel on its own. Sign 7. People feel seen, and that terrifies them. There's something unsettling about being around her. Not because she's aggressive, not because she's harsh, but because you know she sees right through you. The Sigma Karma Messenger doesn't ask invasive questions. She doesn't need to. She reads energy. She catches the flicker in your voice when you lie. She notices the pause when you hide something. And the worst part, she doesn't say a word. That's what terrifies people the most. Being seen and not knowing what the other person knows. With her, there's no place to hide. She doesn't demand transparency. She radiates it. And in her field, the masks start to slip. People confess secrets they've never told anyone. Strangers open up to her without understanding why. Enemies avoid eye contact because shame makes their throat close. She doesn't give you her opinion. She gives you space. Space where your truth gets louder. And for many, that's terrifying. She's not trying to expose you, but her very existence is an X-ray. It's like her soul is a scanner, and every interaction leaves you spiritually naked. And she doesn't use this to manipulate. She uses it to measure. She knows who's real. She knows who's playing roles. And she decides how close she'll let you come based on that inner metric. Not charm, not status, not words. People say she intimidates me. But intimidation isn't the issue. It's recognition. They see in her the version of themselves they abandoned. And that kind of reflection is both painful and magnetic. She reminds people of who they could be if they were honest, if they were brave, if they stopped pretending. And for those not ready to face that, she becomes too intense, too serious, or too much. She's not too much. She's just full spectrum real in a grayscale world. That's why she's a karmic presence. You don't forget her. Not because she impressed you, but because she exposed you. And when she looks at you with that knowing stillness, you feel like every secret has already been read. And maybe it has. Sign 8. She doesn't seek revenge. She becomes it. She doesn't plot. She doesn't vent. She doesn't waste her energy on revenge because her evolution is the punishment. When someone wrongs her, she doesn't chase closure. She doesn't burn down the house. She builds a palace beside it and lets karma handle the rest. You see, she understands something most people never grasp. The most powerful revenge is becoming untouchable. She doesn't wish them harm. She just removes herself, and the universe fills the void with consequences because she was never just a person in their life. She was a timeline upgrade. She was balance, growth, truth. And when that's removed, life gets loud, painfully loud. And her glow up, it's not performative. She's not living well to prove a point. She's living well because she alchemized pain into power. That's divine karma in motion. She doesn't speak on her enemies. She doesn't curse them. But somehow things go sideways for the ones who betrayed her. Their new relationship turns toxic. Their success plateaus. Their peace becomes polluted. Not because she did anything, but because the protection she carried walked out with her. She was the blessing, and they mishandled her. So the universe rewrites their fate accordingly. She becomes everything they told her she couldn't be. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove herself right. That's karmic energy. People will try to return. They'll say you've changed. They'll ask for another chance. But by then, her silence has become her response. She no longer wants revenge. She's above it because she understands the law of energy too well. What you project returns. What you release clears space for something higher. And while her enemies are still consumed by resentment, she's already leveled up into a different frequency. That's the real consequence. Not what she takes from them, but what they lose by no longer having access to her. To all the Sigma Karma messengers. So, here we are, spicy ladies. We've journeyed through the 8 signs that mark a rare soul, the Sigma Karma messenger. She's not here to fit in. She's not here to be liked. She's here to shift reality, whether softly or violently. Maybe you see her in someone you've met, someone who changed your life without asking for anything. Maybe you are her, and you've spent years wondering why people project onto you, fear you, or break down after you walk away. Now you know it wasn't personal. It was karmic design. The truth is this, you are not too much. You're just not for shallow waters. You carry a frequency meant to cleanse, crack, and catalyze. You don't follow trends. You ripple timelines. You don't force change. You become the reason for it. And whether the world thanks you or fears you, your role remains sacred. So to all the Sigma Karma messengers out there, walk boldly. Own your silence. Speak only when the universe needs thunder. And never shrink to make others comfortable with their illusions. You weren't built for comfort. You were built to correct. And if this message found its way into your bones, into your memory, into your shadow, subscribe to Wisdom Ways. Share this video with the one who needs to hear it. And if this truth woke something up in you, support this work by buying me a coffee. The links are in the description and pinned comment. You're not just fueling content, you're fueling a frequency. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching and God bless.